Hi, I am Narsingh Saxena, a scientist turned management consultant and now a scholar of Vedic philosophy. Welcome to my channel, Life and the Vedas. In today's talk session, I will continue further on our topic, unraveling life's mysteries through Vedas. As mentioned earlier, it is explained through 7 articles. Today, I'm going to talk about the second article in the series, Vedas and the Classical Ancient India, which talks about Vedas and their origin. If you are new to the term Vedas, these are ancient texts that belong to the classical era of India. They provide a wealth of knowledge about life and explain its various aspects. Before discussing the rare treasure of Vedic knowledge, it will be pertinent to present you with the credentials of the ancient Indian civilization of the classical era, to which this knowledge belongs. While in most parts of the world, the classical era began in 500 BC. In India, it started much earlier by people known as Aryans, who were noble, righteous, and knowledgeable people, skilled in many areas of human endeavor. They were great warriors who used horse chariots. Let us harness our swift horses to our chariots, and let us charge into battle with the force of a thunderbolt. Let us be like the winds that blow across the plains, unstoppable and fierce, says Rig Veda about the Aryans. They reared and herded cattle and did farming. They were well versed in Sanskrit, the oldest known language to mankind. Mahabharata, the great epic of classical India, mentions a dialogue between a great sage Markandeya and a prince of ruling Kuru dynasty Yudhishthira. The great sage Markandeya said, "O Yudhishthira, know that the language of the Aryans is Sanskrit." Vedas also inform that Aryans had deep knowledge about art, music, literature, science, statecraft, architecture, religion, and philosophy. It was these people who belonged to the classical era of ancient India, during which Vedas were written. Now the question arises, when were Vedas written? In this connection, it is worth noting that so far, the honor of being the world's oldest civilization was awarded by the historians to the Mesopotamian civilization, which existed in 3500 BC. However, the recent archaeological discovery of the ruins of a very ancient city of Dwarka in India, which existed in 7500 BC and which belongs to the classical era of ancient India, has changed everything. As one BBC newscast of 2001 informs, the discovery of Dwarka, an ancient city in India dating back to 7500 BC, is a significant development in the field of archaeology. In another newscast of 2001, it declares, "The discovery of Dwarka is a reminder of the rich cultural heritage of India and its contributions to world civilization. This discovery means that the Indian civilization preceded the hitherto believed most ancient Mesopotamian civilization by 4,000 years. This implies that the honor of being called the world's oldest civilization or the cradle of civilization clearly goes to the ancient Indian civilization, and the title of mother of all knowledge goes to the wisdom of the Vedas." Another significant fall out of the discovery of Dwarka is that it gives a closure to the ongoing debate on whether Aryans were of Indian origin or had migrated to India from Europe and Central Asia, since, as Mahabharata informs, Dwarka civilization was an integral part of the Aryan culture. This provides conclusive proof that Aryans were Indians and falsifies the hypothesis that Aryans had migrated to India from abroad, since there was no sign of any worthwhile civilization anywhere in the world in 7500 BC. Even if historical artifacts belonging to Aryans are found in Europe or Central Asia, the only explanation can be that those Aryans migrated there from India and not the other way round. It is time that the world historians took note of this epoch-making archaeological discovery of Dwarka and rewrote world history. You may wonder that if such a valuable body of knowledge in the form of the Vedas existed, then why does the world hardly know about it? The answer is that with the fall of ancient Indian empires and with the subsequent rule of Islamic invaders from the Middle East and later of British monarchy in India, this knowledge was relegated to the background. When the Britishers discovered it, They were amazed by its sheer grandeur. Unfortunately, their pride did not permit them to accept that their colony had such a glorious social, cultural, and spiritual heritage. So they propounded the false theory that Aryans had come to India from Europe and Central Asia, implying that the great Indian civilization was not even Indian. It is a well-known fact that history can be easily manipulated by biased and shrewd historians. History is written by the victors, Winston Churchill has commented. However, things have changed now. Eventually, India's incredible cultural and philosophical heritage is getting world recognition. Dr. David Frawley, American Hindu teacher and author, says, "The Vedas are the oldest scriptures in the world and contain a wealth of knowledge that is still relevant today. It is heartening to see that more and more scholars around the world are recognizing their importance and studying them in depth." As Dr. Roger Walsh, American author and scholar of consciousness, puts it, "The Vedas represent one of the most ancient and complex bodies of knowledge in the world, with insights into the nature of the universe and the human experience that are still relevant today. As Western scholars continue to study these texts, we are discovering a wealth of wisdom and inspiration that can help us navigate the complexities of the modern world. That way, even without much exposure to Vedas, the world has already embraced wholeheartedly the life-enhancing techniques of yoga and meditation, which have their roots in Vedas." With this introduction of the ancient Indian civilization, let me now tell you about the Vedas. Vedic knowledge is referred to as the revealed knowledge since it is said to have been revealed by the cosmic consciousness to the saints of ancient India, called rishis, when their consciousness was connected to the cosmic consciousness in deep meditation. It is, therefore, not created by any human being. Swami Vivekananda, world-famous Indian monk and philosopher of the 19th century, says, "The Vedas are not man-made, but are the revealed word of God. They are eternal and timeless and contain a wealth of knowledge that can only be accessed through a deep and sincere study of their teachings." Klaus Klostermaier, German-Canadian Indologist and scholar of comparative religion, states, "The Vedas are unique in that they claim to have been revealed by the divine, rather than authored by human beings. This knowledge was passed on from generation to generation through recitation, and later it was organized and written in the form of books, known as Vedas, by the great sage Vedavyas, who belonged to the Dwarka era. That means the Vedas have been there since 7500 BC. There are 4 books of Vedas known as Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samaveda, and Atharva Veda. Vedic books can be dated, but we should remember that Vedic knowledge itself has existed from time immemorial, and from that point of view, it can be said that Vedic knowledge is the oldest knowledge known to mankind. Vedas contain a huge wealth of knowledge pertaining to almost every essential aspect of human life. The Vedas contain knowledge of all things, including the arts and sciences, mathematics, and statecraft, declares Rig Veda. That includes the first fully developed language known to the mankind, called Sanskrit, literature, poetry, music, culture, norms of society, religious rituals, a detailed account of a healthy lifestyle, an herbal system of medicine known as Ayurveda, agricultural practices, trade and commerce, cities, lifestyles of kings, description of kingdoms and their politics, statecraft, art of warfare and weaponry, archaeology, astronomy, etc. Apart from the knowledge pertaining to the physical aspect of the human existence described above, Vedas also contain a huge body of robust philosophy about the transcendental or spiritual dimension for which they are mainly known. The Vedas contain the knowledge of the divine and the spiritual, as well as the principles of ethics and morality, declares the Yajur Veda. The philosophical and spiritual part of Vedic knowledge is contained in the last chapters of each Veda, which are referred to as Upanishads. Apart from Vedas and Upanishads, there are a few more important works which constitute a part of the ancient Indian philosophy and spiritual tradition. The most profound among them is known as the Bhagavad Gita, which summarizes all the Vedic and Upanishadic knowledge and puts it in perspective. Another important work is Brahma Sutra, which gives a detailed description of the cosmic consciousness. All these texts, together with some other works like Puranas, which are not mentioned here due to brevity, constitute what is known as Vedic literature, which encompasses the core of Vedic philosophy. Here remember that I use the term Brahm instead of the commonly used term Brahman to represent the cosmic consciousness, since it is closer to its actual pronunciation in Sanskrit. Let us now talk about 7 concepts that are central to Vedic philosophy. The foremost among them is that of Brahm, or cosmic consciousness. As Brihadaranyaka Upanishad mentions, the core concept of the Vedas is the idea of Brahm, the cosmic consciousness that underlies all of existence. This cosmic consciousness is also known as the soul of the universe, or Paramatma. The second concept is that of Mother Nature. It is the cosmic power of Brahm which creates and nurtures the whole universe. As Atharva Veda puts it, the Vedas celebrate the divine feminine as the creative and nurturing force of the universe. Third important concept is that of individual consciousness, which is a tiny part of the cosmic consciousness, trapped in the physical body, undergoing the cycle of life and death. This tiny part is called the individual soul, or Atma, or Jivatma. Fourth one is that of the law of karma, which governs our life pattern. What kind of life shall we have? What in life shall we get? All depends on our actions in the past and present lives. As you sow, so shall you reap, declares Rigveda. The fifth concept is that of our 2 bodies, one visible, with which we are familiar, and other one is the invisible body associated with the visible body. Chandogya Upanishad mentions the subtle body consists of the mind, intellect, and ego, and is responsible for our thoughts, emotions, and actions. The gross body is made up of the 5 elements and is visible to the naked eye. The sixth concept is about chakras, which are the energy centers in the invisible energy body. The ancient text called Satkakra Nirupana says, within the body there are 7 lotus-like centers of vital energy, known as chakras. They are the gateways to higher consciousness. The 7th concept is dedicated to the eventual union, yoga, of the individual consciousness with the cosmic consciousness, the ultimate goal of human existence, which ends the cycle of life and death. Atharva Veda declares, yoga is the union of the individual soul and the supreme soul. You may wonder that yoga normally stands for the physical postures which are aimed at achieving the optimum health and fitness. However, that actually is the first step in the process of moving towards that eventual union, which is the true connotation of yoga. All these concepts will be covered in the next couple of articles. That's all for today. In the next episode, I will be talking about the foremost Vedic concept of cosmic consciousness, or Brahm. Thanks for listening.